So Measure F is a special tax being proposed by Arcata Fire District. It will be on the November ballot. This tax requires 2/3 voter approval, has a 10-year sunset clause, and it would allow us to reopen our third station, which has been closed due to rotational closures. These closures came as a result of us not having the funding to keep 3 stations open. Not only does our call volume dictate a need for 3 stations, we're running between 9 and 10 calls a day, and so there's numerous times throughout the day where both engines or all 3 engines are committed on incidents. And without that station, it completely changes how we operate. Now, at times we have our second engine delayed up to 10 minutes, which is a significant time if you're on a working fire or having a cardiac arrest call. And it's important to have those stations spaced apart throughout the district so we can cover the greatest area and the greatest population areas with staffing on a full-time basis. So we cover 63 square miles and our population base is around 37,000 residents. That doesn't include during business hours more people coming in to go to work, or the student population, because there's students that live in Eureka, might come in from Eureka to Humboldt State, which during times our population can be in the 50,000. It's simple economics. We need so much money to operate 3 stations, and currently we don't bring that in revenues. Our main funding sources are through our ad valorem, our property tax. We also have the 2006 benefit assessment on the property tax bill and the 1997 special tax. Neither one of those have a cost of living adjustment, so that money only goes so far, and it's been 14 years since we've had any type of increase in our revenues through an assessment or a tax. Arcata Fire District is a special district that includes Jacoby Creek, Bayside, Manila, Arcata, and McKinleyville. Now, just because the city of Arcata falls within our boundaries, they have no legal obligation to provide funding like they do with our Arcata Police Department. We're running between 3,800 and 4,000 calls a year. That requires 3 stations. We look at response times. We look at the needs on an incident once we get there. We look at the types of incidents we're responding to, and that's what dictates where our stations are located and if they're staffed or not. And right now, Arcata Fire District needs to be a 3-station agency because the demand for service is there. It's almost weekly that we have engines breaking down and going out of service. And right now we have about 40% of our fleet out of service with major mechanical. And that's something that is a struggle to keep up with. The ladder truck is out of service. The water tender is out of service. One of the Type 1 engines is out of service. So that creates a challenge on a daily basis. You know, with your own personal vehicle, when it starts to nickel and dime you, that's when you start looking at replacing your vehicle, and we're in the same boat right now as the fire district. We're getting nickel and dimed with our equipment because of their age and the use that they've had. They get used every day, 9-10 times a day. They're rolling out on calls, and that puts wear and tear on that equipment. Another thing that we're doing if Measure F passes is there'll be a citizen oversight committee. That committee's sole responsibility is to ensure that we are held accountable. We're held accountable for every tax dollar that is brought in and spent. We already know what we want to use this funding for, and that committee's responsibility is going to be to ensure that we are using the money as we say we plan to. Now, we would like to staff all 3 of the stations because the need is there. However, with the rotating station closures, we're unable to do that. One of the things that the district is considering if Measure F fails is taking the 4 on-duty firefighters and putting them on 1 engine at the Mad River Fire Station. If Measure F passes, we don't see that money until January of 2022. So that's when we can begin to start the hiring process to restore those 8 vacant positions. Now that's important for community safety. We need to get the fire engines and the firefighters to the scene in less than 5 minutes. That's what's going to help the community when they have an emergency.